This is a map of the United States. From a distance, it looks like a single, unified nation. A collection of 50 states all operating under the same flag and sharing a common identity. But this map is a lie. Hidden within this union are places so culturally, geographically, and historically distinct that they feel less like states and more like entirely different countries. These are not just regions with quirky accents or different political leanings. These are places with their own legal systems, their own languages, their own foundational myths, and their own unique ways of life that challenge the very idea of a single American identity. So what are these states? What makes a place like Louisiana feel more like a Caribbean island than a part of the American South? Why does Utah operate on a social and religious framework that exists nowhere else in the country? And how did Hawaii, a Polynesian kingdom in the middle of the Pacific, become the 50th state? These are the American states that feel like foreign countries, and their stories reveal a far more complex and fascinating nation than the one we think we know. Our first stop is a place that is technically part of the Deep South, but feels like it belongs in a different hemisphere entirely: Louisiana. The most profound difference is not the food or the music, but the law itself. Louisiana is the only state in the Union that does not use the English common law system that the other 49 states inherited from Great Britain. Instead, its legal system is based on the Napoleonic Code, a direct legacy of its history as a French colony. This is not just a historical footnote. It fundamentally changes how laws are written and interpreted, affecting everything from property rights to contracts. This legal distinction is the bedrock upon which Louisiana's unique culture is built. The state was a French and then a Spanish colony for longer than it has been a part of the United States. This history never left. It is visible in the architecture of the French Quarter in New Orleans, a city that feels more Caribbean than American. It is audible in the Cajun and Creole dialects spoken in the bayous, a linguistic tapestry of French, Spanish, African, and Native American influences. And it is edible in the cuisine, a globally recognized culinary tradition that has no parallel in the rest of the country: gumbo, jambalaya, etouffee. These are not American dishes with a local twist. They are the products of a completely different cultural lineage. Add to this the religious landscape. While the rest of the South is overwhelmingly Protestant, Louisiana is deeply Catholic, another remnant of its French and Spanish heritage. This is most famously expressed during Mardi Gras, a festival of excess and revelry that feels utterly alien to the puritanical roots of much of America. From its legal system to its language, its food, and its faith, Louisiana is not just a state. It is a cultural island, a piece of the Franco-Caribbean world that somehow got stranded in the middle of the American South. From the humid swamps of the Gulf Coast, we travel to the high, arid desert of the American West, to a state that feels less like a part of the United States and more like its own self-contained republic, Utah. The story of Utah is the story of a single, uniquely American religion, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, commonly called Mormon. While other states were settled by prospectors, ranchers, or farmers seeking economic opportunity, Utah was settled by religious pilgrims seeking refuge. In the mid-19th century, Brigham Young led thousands of Mormon pioneers across the continent to escape persecution and build a new society in their own image, a modern-day Zion in the middle of the desert. This foundational story is not just history in Utah, it is the state's entire operating system. The culture is profoundly shaped by Mormon values of family, community, and clean living. This manifests in ways that are immediately noticeable to any outsider. The state has some of the strictest and most unusual liquor laws in the country. The birth rate is consistently the highest in the nation, and the average household size is significantly larger than the national average. The very layout of its cities, like Salt Lake City, with their wide streets and grid system oriented around a central temple, is a physical manifestation of Mormon theology and planning. This religious influence extends deep into the state's politics and social fabric, creating a society that is remarkably cohesive, but also culturally distinct. While the rest of America has become increasingly secular and individualistic, Utah remains a place where religion is deeply intertwined with public life. It is a modern, prosperous state that operates on a social framework that feels like a throwback to a different era. It is an American state, but it is also a Mormon homeland, a theocratic experiment in the heart of a secular nation. Next, we head further south to a state where not one, not two, but three distinct cultures have been clashing and blending for centuries, creating a society that feels older and more complex than America itself. New Mexico is not just a state, it is a crossroads. The first culture is the Native American one, with 23 federally recognized tribes, including the ancient Pueblo peoples who have lived in the region for thousands of years. Their multi-story adobe dwellings, like Taos Pueblo, are some of the oldest continuously inhabited communities in North America. Their traditions, languages, and art are not relics of the past. They are a living, breathing part of the state's identity. The second culture is the Hispanic one, a legacy of the Spanish conquistadors who arrived in the 16th century, long before the Pilgrims landed at Plymouth Rock. This is not the same as the Mexican-American culture found in Texas or California. This is a unique, centuries-old Hispanic culture with its own dialect of Spanish, its own traditions, and its own deep connection to the land. This is visible everywhere, from the adobe churches that dot the landscape to the official state question, red or green. That question refers to the type of chile you want with your food. The third culture is the Anglo-American one, the most recent arrival, which brought the English language, the federal government, and the modern economy. In New Mexico, these three cultures are not melted together in a single pot. They coexist, sometimes uneasily, as distinct pillars of the state's identity. This tri-cultural reality makes New Mexico feel like a place where three different nations occupy the same space. It is a state where you can visit a 1,000-year-old Pueblo, attend a Catholic Mass in a 400-year-old Spanish church, and then drive down Route 66, the ultimate symbol of Anglo-American car culture. This unique blend of cultures, set against a backdrop of stunning high desert landscapes, makes New Mexico one of the most profoundly different places in the entire country. From the desert, we journey to the farthest northern reaches of the continent, to a place that is so vast, so remote, and so wild that it challenges the very definition of a modern state: Alaska. Alaska is not just a state, it is a different planet. It is a land of extremes, a place where the scale of nature is so immense that it makes human civilization feel like a tiny, insignificant afterthought. At more than twice the size of Texas, it is a country-sized state with a population smaller than the city of San Jose. The majority of its land is not connected by roads. The capital, Juneau, is the only state capital that is inaccessible by land. You can only get there by plane or boat. This geographic isolation has bred a culture of rugged individualism and self-reliance that is unlike anywhere else in the lower 48. This is the last American frontier, a place where people still live a subsistence lifestyle, hunting and fishing for their food. It is a state where pilots are more common than taxi drivers, and where a traffic jam might be caused by a moose, not a car. It is also home to a rich tapestry of native Alaskan cultures: the Inupiat, the Yupik, the Tlingit, and many others, who have thrived in this harsh environment for thousands of years. Their art, their languages, and their deep connection to the land are a fundamental part of the state's identity. Alaska's relationship with the rest of the United States is also unique. Because of its strategic location, it has a massive military presence. And because of its vast oil reserves, every resident receives an annual dividend from the state's oil wealth, a form of universal basic income that exists nowhere else in the country. Alaska feels like a different country because, in many ways, it is. It is a subarctic nation of hunters, pilots, and soldiers, a place where the rules of modern American life simply do not apply. Finally, we travel thousands of miles across the Pacific Ocean to a chain of volcanic islands that is, without question, the most unique state in the entire Union: Hawaii. If Louisiana is a cultural island, Hawaii is a literal one, the most geographically isolated population center on Earth. But its uniqueness goes far beyond its location. Hawaii is the only state that was once a recognized independent kingdom. It has its own royal history with palaces, monarchs, and a political narrative that is entirely separate from that of the continental United States. This history is not just in the past, it is a source of pride, and for some, a source of pain and a call for sovereignty. The culture of Hawaii is not American with a tropical flavor. It is a distinct Polynesian culture with its own language, its own traditions, its own music, and its own worldview. The concept of aloha is not just a greeting, it is a complex philosophy of love, respect, and harmony with nature. The state has two official languages, English and Hawaiian, and the local dialect, a Creole known as Pidgin, is a language unto itself. The ethnic makeup of Hawaii is also completely different from the rest of the country. It is the only state with an Asian American majority and the lowest percentage of white residents. This blend of Polynesian, Asian, and American influences has created a society that is truly a melting pot, but one with a flavor found nowhere else on Earth. From the towering volcanoes of the Big Island to the legendary surf of Oahu's North Shore, the landscape itself feels otherworldly. Visiting Hawaii does not feel like visiting another state. It feels like visiting a foreign country, a Polynesian nation that just happens to be a part of the United States. These states, from the swamps of Louisiana to the deserts of Utah, from the mountains of Alaska to the islands of Hawaii, are a powerful reminder that America is not a monolith. It is a complex and often contradictory collection of different nations, each with its own story, its own culture, and its own unique identity, all living together under a single flag. Thank you for watching.